series of cuts one direction and then went back and made the series the same way. It was an old Chevrolet motor with a circle saw on it. And when you cut in this direction, well, we only cut one way, in that you went down toward the open stretch of ice and then went back and used the guides to go in the previous cut, and then saw back away from the open water. These pictures were taken in Hot Springs on Larive Lake, where Dad and Lauren made the ice for, or cut the ice for Larive, who was the city of Hot Springs' iceman, and they put up several hundred tons of ice in this particular job. You can see how the ice has already been cut back and forth, and now they're cutting it the other direction. Never cut all the way through, left about 2 inches of uncut ice to support the saw and to make it safe to walk out on. Here is a he tried to take too many chunks in that time, and looks like he's just about got too many this time. No, he have a, call this an ice jack. It's a cable and pulley arrangement to pull the ice blocks up the chute into the house, where it is shaved and fitted together and then covered with sawdust. Larive had several scaffoldings up around this house in different layers as they filled the house, where they'd go down to the up to the higher levels. Looks like somebody's going to try too many again here. Dad built this thing, this saw rig, back in the late 30s, and used it for maybe 10 or 15 years before he finally sold it to Pat Hartman. He also converted it to a wood saw rig for summertime use, to lay in a supply of firewood for the winter. It run with a flat belt. Push the cakes around and push them into the ice house, the pike poles. It was always my job to saw off the cakes in long strings like this, and then use a spud bar to take a long string or a float around to the chute, where he slid it up into the ice house. I don't know what this young fellow's doing, but posing for the camera mostly. There's Mr. Larive. I think he's sitting there watching the operation. Dad cut a good many thousands of tons of ice over the years with this machine. Most of the people around Ardmore and Hot Springs and Edgemont had him come and cut ice, and they'd haul it away in their trucks. And at that time, those early years, they didn't have refrigeration. Most people didn't have a constant power source, so they couldn't have electric refrigeration. So they put up small amounts, a few tons of ice in a little ice house in their backyard, so they'd have ice all summer. And this is a good representation, and this fellow's about to get his butt wet. Yep, he did. Tried to get too many chunks, too heavy, and the back one kicked up. There he's giving it another go. Going to make it this time, I believe. Each chunk of ice weighed about 200 pounds, so if you try to get more than about 5 or 6 chunks, why, you just weren't able to hold that jack in place for many more than that. Like Lauren